For In Motion, I'm Kurt Parker.
I was working with a Quaker group, just doing volunteering work in the city, with my son. And I remember being in the house of a woman named Harriet with a young grandmother. And her daughter was not seen for many years. And she was raising her granddaughter and telling me about how difficult things were to raise the child. And I was painting her kitchen, basically. And it occurred to me that this wasn't going to go anywhere. I could come back there 10 years from now and Harriet's granddaughter could be telling me a similar story. So I decided that there has to be a different way to think about places like this. And so the answer that is given invariably is economic development. You develop the economy, you create jobs, you increase income, and then things will happen. Now, the US is the greatest wealth-producing engine ever conceived in human history. So how much wealth do we have to create for places like this? I mean, if more wealth is what it takes, what is India going to do? What is China going to do? What is Africa going to do? There has to be another way to think about it. Because if all of this wealth can't eradicate poverty, why do we keep thinking that more wealth will do it?
This is Dr. Lakshman Yapa, but his friends call him Lucky. He's a professor of geography at Penn State, and his time in Philadelphia doing volunteer work brought about some critical thinking on how to change the plight of those living in poverty. From this humble beginning, Rethinking Urban Poverty, a Philadelphia field project, was born.
The Philadelphia Field Project is about rethinking urban poverty. The idea is to break the connection between money and lack of it and quality of life. Where we argue that in communities like this that don't have a lot of money, where a lot of people are considered officially poor, and we're not going to have a lot of money here because the jobs are going overseas, how do we improve the quality of life here? And we think we can do that even if we don't have money. So the idea is to explore all of the different ways in which we can do that.
The project, which is a research initiative on urban poverty in the U.S., uses inner-city Philadelphia as a test case. The project leverages the human potential of the university and the local neighborhood to combat the problem. Dr. Yapa transports several university students from disciplines across the board to live in a Philadelphia neighborhood for a portion of the summer. Once the students arrive, they get one directive.
Whenever the students come, I tell them to look at their major, that's their academic competence, and I said, now look for these opportunities in the city, in the area, and try to link that up with a need and what you can supply.
I'm setting up compost piles in the community so that people can have access to good fertilizer for the urban gardens, and it won't cost much. Everyone else has a general theory they're working with. I'm just working with the dirt, working with compost.
So I came into this project interested in community economic development, and so I came here and I tried to assess what the financial needs of the community were. And I found out that a lot of people were using check cashing places to get their paychecks, which are very expensive, and there was a need for normal banks or credit unions in the area because credit unions have much lower rates. So now I'm working with the local church to start a community credit union, and hopefully I'll be doing that for the rest of the summer.
Working with students and community leaders, Lucky seeks to strike down the idea that poverty can be eradicated by waiting for money to be injected into a local economy. Money that in all likelihood will never show up. He believes when universities begin to change how they see poverty, they can then be a part of the solution.
So to me, this project demonstrates that in fact the university can be a part of the solution. If you get away from the language of poverty, if you get away from the language of economic development, and if you focus on homes, on bodies, on gardens, on nutrition, on details like that, we have the talent in the university to bring people down, professors, graduate students, undergraduates, who can begin to involve themselves in this different model. Not talking about poverty, but effecting change through their own competence and their own skills.
For In Motion, I'm Kurt Parker.